Hi guys, I'm Oliver and today I'm going to be demoing the new Triungulo Lab HARAFNA, which is like a LFO controlled low pass filter. It can get pretty crazy, but it can also get some really cool usable sounds. I know there are a lot of Chili Peppers fans here as well, so for those of you looking for that John Frusciante low pass filter modulated sound, it can do that plus a hell of a lot more. Let me just quickly show you what equipment I'm going to be using and then we will get straight to the pedal board. Okay, so guitar wise I'm going to be using my original 1965 Fender Jaguar. That's going to be running through my entire pedal board here, but of course the main focus is going to be on the Triungulo Lab HARAFNA today. And as always, I'm running in stereo to a Marshall Mini Silver Jubilee pan to the left, which is going through a THD hot plate. So the amp is cranked. If you see that the output master is up on 8, but I'm really attenuating to a bedroom level. And an orange AD30, which is panned to the right. Let's go to the HARAFNA. Right, so we're all set up and ready to go. Here is the beautiful HARAFNA pedal. So I'm just going to show you first of all my dry signal, which is my Jag on the bridge pickup. So it's kind of like a slightly driven clean sound. Let's engage the HARAFNA at whatever was the last setting I used. So let me explain what this pedal actually has. Basically what you've got is a mix control, which at its fully counterclockwise position, which is where it is at the moment, is just the wet. And as you increase that, you are going to introduce the dry signal into the mix. The level is just like your input gain, so if that is all the way down, you get nothing. There's actually quite a lot of boost available from it too. Unity seems to be about 11 o'clock. You've then got a frequency cutoff control, which is basically adjusting the frequency at which the filter starts kind of modulating from. So at its higher settings, that's when the pedal sounds its brightest. And then as you turn that control down, it's just going to get more dark. To the right of that, you've got the resonance control, and that is basically almost like creating a feedback kind of circuit. So the signal's being fed back through the pedal, and it kind of creates some laser beam and oscillation sort of settings at its maximum position. And then if you turn it down, it basically just makes the whole effect slightly more subtle. So let's just keep it down low, and then I'll gradually increase it as I play. Bear in mind, I am playing at the same time as adjusting this pedal, so it's absolutely not a playing demonstration. We are just listening to the effect. yeah, it goes pretty out of control and amazing. And then finally, we've got this is actually labeled the rate control, but these two here actually control the depth, and then the two above are the rate. So I mean, it might be a bit confusing, but once you get your head around it, this controls the filter, the LFO depth, and this controls the rate, and that's the same on both sides. Did I mention this has got 2 LFOs built into it? Not 1, but 2. So what you're hearing at the moment is actually only half of what this pedal can do. It's absolutely incredible. So if I was to turn the depth down, what you get is just a straightforward low-pass filter, which you can adjust the frequency of with this frequency knob, or there's actually an expression pedal jack on the top, which you can use to kind of move this knob hands-free. Obviously, with the resonance control a bit higher as well, you can get some pretty cool effects as it is. Where was I? Got a bit carried away there with the awesomeness of this pedal. So yeah, the LFO section. So I'll turn up the depth control. Let's just leave the rate at sort of 12 o'clock for now. And then you'll hear, as I start to increase the depth, you will hear the LFO start to get introduced into the filter. Just turn the frequency up a tiny bit so you can hear it a bit better. So it gets pretty pronounced at its full setting, which is amazing. It's just what you want, really. It's got the perfect range, so you kind of set it slightly lower if you want that subtle sort of sound, and then as you increase it, it gets a lot more throbby. By the way, the LFO in this, I believe, is a triangle wave, but you can obviously comment below. Will confirm that, but I'm sure it's a triangle wave. It doesn't quite have the smoothness of a sine wave, but I might be wrong there. And then the rate ranges. So if I leave the depth around 3 o'clock, that's probably a good kind of place to have it. So it's not too intense. The rate has a very, very wide range. So 12 o'clock, you get the speed that you've just been hearing. But let's just see how slow it will go. Bear in mind, when it's this slow, the LED still pulses extremely slowly, but you might not necessarily know exactly when the pedal's on or off until it starts lighting up. So right about there is where you get your Chili Peppers sound, if you were curious about how well that sounds. So I'm just going to change to the neck pickup. So that well-known Red Hot Chili Peppers song, Danny California. John Frusciante is known for using a Moog MF101 low-pass filter with a control voltage, basically controlling the filter's cutoff frequency, which is essentially what the LFO in here is doing for you. You've got no need to do that. But as I have just mentioned, control voltage, there is also an input on the top to put in your own control voltage. So if you want it to, I think it will probably control the rate of the filter, so you can have it sync to, you know, anything that you've got that has its own control voltage. But yeah, in terms of the speed that I just reached, that's perfect for this kind of sound. So anyway, moving on, we can go even faster if you like. I'm just going to change back to the bridge pickup. And then at its maximum speed, it is just amazingly fast. So that's the sound that you get if you crank both the rate and the depth. Cool, so now we've explored the rate and the depth of the LFO. Now's a good time to mention what these two switches do, because what you've got this side is an exact reproduction of this LFO. So this foot switch here turns the effect on and off. And this foot switch here engages and disengages the second LFO. So you'll see when I engage this LED starts blinking in time with, however, this second LFO is set. What the hell is an LFE? Low frequency elephant, probably. So yeah, you can get some absolutely amazing kind of random sounding, almost like step filter, like LFO sounds from this. So what I'll do is I find setting the depth of the second LFO higher than the first one kind of works better, because this is having to react from an already modulated signal. So let's just have a listen to how I've got the first one set one last time. Maybe increase the resonance a bit. I haven't really shown you how the mix control sounds yet either, so I'll just quickly show you that. I've had it in the lowest position just because I think for the kind of things that I would use this pedal for, at least, you want this filter to really take over your signal. So by not having any dry signal mixed in, you're not really compromising any of that filter. But if, for example, you were to have the frequency set lower, it's obviously quite dark. So by mixing back in some of your dry signal, you can have that really low end heavy throbbing filter, but still your sparkly clean guitar sound blended in. but I think we'll keep it at its lowest position for now. So time to engage this second LFO. One of my favorite settings is actually having this one set kind of as it is, and then having your second one set really, really slow. So you've got this constantly wah, 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 wah kind of filter, but then it's going through another really, really slow sweeping filter. By the way, this pedal sounds amazing with fuzz, so I'm just going to kick on another pedal that Will has made, which is the Triungulo Lab JF Fuzz, which is pretty much a clone of a germanium Mosrite Fuzzrite. So the way that the two LFOs kind of fight against each other is amazing. There must be thousands and thousands of combinations if you consider that whatever kind of patterns that we create now, you can do the other way around as well. So you might want to feed a slower LFO into a faster one, for example. So with that kind of setting, that might be a good time to, evaluate how your mix control's set, because it's kind of going a bit crazy with the resonance high. You've got these two crazy LFOs going and a fuzz pedal on. Maybe you want to introduce some of the dry signal in where you can. Yeah, I mean, it's just an amazing noise generator in itself with that resonance controller. Probably said that about 3 times, but who gives a damn? Sorry for swearing, I mean shit. So let's just keep going with these patterns. I'll leave the fuzz on because it sounds amazing. I'll go back to full wet as well, so I've just turned the mix control down. Maybe the fuzz is getting a bit much now. Yeah, I mean, there is just so much that this pedal can do. I really can't recommend it enough, to be honest. What Will has done, again, like with all of his other pedals, is just create something that's so inspiring. I mean, you just don't want to stop playing. I find exactly the same thing with his fuzz, with his CE1 clone as well. I mean, the fact that this is a completely original concept as well just makes it a hell of a lot more desirable, because there is pretty much nothing else on the market like this pedal with 2 independent LFOs. It's just amazing. The other thing about it, you can probably hear now, is it's not noisy. Tiny bit of pulsing coming from that, but compared to the actual signal, I mean, that buzz that you could hear on my chord decaying was just my Jaguar's pickups. Now the volume control's off on the guitar, that pedal is quiet as hell. You can crank the level, get a lot of boost out of it, still stays pretty quiet. So I mean, that's the other cool thing about this pedal, is that this level control, this input gain, the way it works is before the filter section. So if you have your LFO turned all the way off, so if you just turn the depth down, you can use this as just an overdrive pedal or a filtered overdrive pedal. So if you kind of have the resonance like fairly high up and the frequency set to full, when you turn this pedal on, well, I'll show you with the level set to unity first. You don't lose any of your, bass tone, even with the mix on full. You can then use this, crank the level up, amazing overdrive. And then with this frequency, you can use it like a cocked wah / overdrive. Kick a bit of fuzz on with it. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and if you like what you see here, obviously Will's going to put the link to his pedal in the description. Go and buy one, it's absolutely amazing.